All right, so we are going to start a new chapter, the final chapter for health psychology, health promotion. This is a very fun chapter. It's a very relaxing chapter. taking इसमें ज़्यादा कुछ इतना मुश्किल नहीं है. It's just common sense. कुछ researches repeat होंगी from organizational psychology. So organizational psychology students might like this chapter more. Uh, लेकिन for those students जिन्होंने abnormal psychology पढ़ा हुआ है, org नहीं पढ़ा हुआ, so I would have to go over some researches again. तो वो थोड़ा बहुत दो researches ऐसी जो repetitive हो जाएगा for organizational psychology kids, but that's it. So what this chapter is about, basically health promotion के अंदर you're gonna have three basic divisions. एक मिनट, what is it? अब आवाज सही है? Volume is the volume fine up? I don't know, like I just got a new mic, तो पता नहीं. Can anyone let me know? Halima, आवाज सही है अब? Um, all right. मतलब fine या नहीं सही है, या it could be better वाला सीन है. All right. ठीक है. तो yeah, what this chapter is about. So basically, three divisions, three sections again. पहले section के अंदर you're gonna talk about different strategies that you can use to promote health. What are those three strategies? So yeah, so that's the first section. Second section is that you're gonna study how to promote health in three different areas. School में किस तरह health promote करते हैं, offices and community. And third section is basically जो when you promote health, so who you are promoting the health to, जो individual सामने होता है. तो individuals factors कौन कौन से होते हैं that you need to consider while promoting health. ठीक है. And this chapter is really gonna be applicable if you use the current coronavirus situation in mind, because health promotion is basically all about providing awareness. So first of all, we have is strategies for promoting health. इसके अंदर तीन चीज हम पढ़ेंगे: fear, arousal, persuasive communication, and providing information. So fear arousal, ठीक है ना, is gonna be our first research. So fear arousal के अंदर basically हमारे सिलेबस के अंदर बहुत सारी रिसर्चेस हैं जो fear arousal के अंदर आ सकता है, but there is only one official research within the syllabus, that is by Janis. तो मैं तुम्हें दिखा दूंगा, but हमारे सिलेबस के अंदर I think at least 3 or 4 researches ऐसे दूसरे चैप्टर से जो fear arousal का आराम से फिट हो सकते हैं, and you can use that as an example when you're debating on whether fear arousal is effective or not. ठीक है. So number one, for fear arousal we have Russell and Roberts. Basically, what they say is when you use scare tactics, when you wanna scare a person so that they can take better care of themselves. For example, you wanna scare a kid so that he eats vegetables. होता है ना कि बचपन में if you don't eat this, तो कोई तुम्हें उठा के लेके चला जाएगा. So that's fear arousal. So people will do the healthy behavior to avoid the outcome जिससे वो डरते हैं. तो सिगरेट पैकेट्स के अंदर बहुत सारा इस्तेमाल होता है ये कि कैंसर की तस्वीर लगी हुई है, that's fear arousal. So fear arousal के अंदर if you want to use an image, you need to make sure that the image is not nice. It should disgust people. It should be unpleasant, and you should make sure that whatever you're presenting, जो आउटकम तुम लोगों को दिखा रहे हो कि if you don't follow the advice, ये जो आउटकम आएगा, you need to make sure that the outcome is realistic as well. It should not be tasveer of something that is less likely to happen to people. It should be something that is more likely to happen to people, where people will not take it seriously. For example, COVID की situation ले लो. Corona virus से you can die. ठीक है. Worst case scenario. Uh, so if many people believe that they will not die of COVID, so presenting death as a fear will not work. You need to present something else, and also you need to also give suggestions how to, as to how to avoid this unpleasant outcome that you're using as fear arousal technique. This third point is going to be very important because you're going to see what difference will it make अगर third point नहीं होता and जब third point होता है. So so one research that is going to follow all these three things is one by your organizer psychology research is one by Cope. ठीक है ना? You can also use this within health psychology. I think in health psychology के chapter का book के अंदर कहीं ना कहीं इसका नाम mention किया गया है, but it's not the official research of your syllabus. So basically, what he does is he educates people on how to be safe while they're cooking French fries. ठीक है? उस वक्त इंग्लैंड के अंदर लोग जो थे पूरा तेल पॉट के अंदर भरते थे, फिर फ्रेंच फ्राइज पकाते थे, जिसके से घरों में आग लगती थी. ठीक है? फ्राई पैन इस्तेमाल नहीं करते थे. So he wants to find out whether advertisements would work in creating reductions in fire. So he basically creates two advertisements and he airs them. He shows them in 10 areas of UK. And summary, uh, both जिन areas के अंदर वो advertisement दिखाता है वहाँ पे fires कम लगना शुरू आते हैं. तो it does work. The fires decrease. And how does he find this out? Basically, he calls the fire brigade of that area and calls them कि भाई अब आग लग रही है. They say no. And also he calls the people within that area randomly. So if anyone has seen their ad, he could ask them, okay, how did the ad help you get awareness? So this is the statistics for the decline after he showed the ad in certain areas. ठीक है. One thing that is important to note is that इसने दो advertisement बनाया, right? So he started this research within, I guess, 1973 के बाद इसने शुरू किया था, या 1976 के अंदर शुरू किया था. So 1976 से 1982 के अंदर ये चलता रहा advertisement. So it ran for 6 years. So in 1982, finally, what he did was he decided to stop the advertisement to see whether the people need advertisements or not. So when he stopped the advertisements in 1982, 6 saal baad, the accidents still stopped decreasing. So basically, people were still aware, people were still careful, and the fire reductions still continued to happen. But it only lasted for क्या कहते हैं 6 months. ठीक है. But उस point के बाद होता क्या है, when the 6 months are gone, the fire started to increase again by 3% after those 4 months. So let's suppose like we calculate this one. 6 month तक लोग सही थे, but after the 6 months time passed, उससे 4 महीने बाद, so basically 6 + 4 is 10 months. So within 10 months of after stopping the ad on TV, 10 महीने बाद लोग फिर से आग लगाना शुरू हो गए घर में. So basically what he says that, you know what, if you stop the advertisement too soon, you underexpose people, and that is bad. You need to keep people exposed. But there's also a condition of overexposure, as in, what if people are so overexposed to the message that they're saturated? For example, you might have seen advertisement on TV जो एक ही एडवर्टाइजमेंट कमर्शियल ब्रेक के अंदर दो दफा एडवर्टाइजमेंट आ रहा होता है, सो यू गेट फ्रस्ट्रेटेड. सो देयर आर सर्टेन एरियाज जहाँ पे डबल डबल एड दिखाए थे to see whether double ad would work or only one advertisement would work. So if you show two ads, if you show one ad, yes, the accidents would decrease, but accidents decrease more if you only show one advertisement. If you show double advertisement, the accidents will decrease, but at a lesser rate. हो सकता है कि people get tired of seeing the same advertisement again, so they don't pay attention to it. So that's why people don't learn from the advertisement as well. But your idea within health promotion is not to realize the underexposure, overexposure aspect, but your objective is within health psychology is to realize how did fear arousal happen within the commercials that क्या कहते हैं, Cope showed. So basically, I'm going to show you an क्या कहते हैं, example commercial. ठीक है, I think ये इसमें sound नहीं है for some reason, but you're exactly, you can relate Russell's 3 point. The image should be unpleasant, the image should be realistic, and there should be tips so that people can use so that they can prevent the feared outcome. ठीक है, तो she's making French fries, ठीक है, डालती है, and this catches fire. ठीक है, so this is the fear arousal part. Now they're showing what to do. So this is the advice part. Now let's keep it narration ताकि, you know, like turn the stove off, wet towel डाल दो, then open the window if you need to, and ये message आता है. तो basically the scenario that they showed, ये आग लगने वाला, that is realistic enough, number one. Number two, that is unpleasant enough, and number three, उसके साथ उन्होंने tips भी दिए हुए हैं. The second advertisement that they showed, इज दिस वन वो भी सेम थीम है बट थोड़ा सा अलग है ठीक है ना इसके अंदर भी फेयर हाउस इस्तेमाल हुआ हुआ है so you can see why people will not see two advertisements because they all follow the same theme so if you've seen it once you get tired of seeing this one as well क्योंकि तुमने पहले वाले से तुम शायद सीख चुके होगे so Bharat these are the two advertisements that he made same theme same idea so it does work in fear housing because you scare the people so that they don't do this mistake and you also make them a good suggestion to how to avoid this mistake so you can use cope research to say that fear arousal does work because as you can see by the statistics it did work now coming on to your original researches by the way these are all example of fear arousal posters ठीक है fear arousal posters so fair arousal can be universally used for anything. For example, if you want to stop people from speeding, driving के वक्त safe driving करो, you can use that. If you want people to stop smoking, you can use that. Coronavirus kind of people SOP follow करें, you can use that. It can be used for any scenario. Uh, so this is the official research by Janis. 53 की research है. This is the official research for health promotion. And इसके अंदर भी fair arousal check करेंगे, does it work or not. So it's very interesting research. Happens to only 50 high school kids, and they want to know कि fair arousal से बच्चा जो है अपने dental hygiene habits change करेगा या किसी और तरीके से बच्चा अपने dental hygiene habits change करेगा. So what they do is they have 50 kids, divide them into four groups: high fear arousal, medium fear arousal, low fear arousal, and the control group. The control groups does not get anything about dental hygiene. They only get information about the function of the eye, so they get no information about the dental hygiene. Okay, that's why they're the control group. हमारी रिसर्च के अंदर what we have to know is हमारी रिसर्च के अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए we're going to only compare high fear with low fear. There is no data about the medium fear and control group का कोई data भी नहीं है. So we have only high fear versus low fear for our syllabus. So what happens in the high fear is that high fear के अंदर जो बच्चे होते हैं they are shown multiple images of severe tooth infection जैसे ये तुम देख सकते हो and low fear वाले बच्चों को एक boring presentation देते हैं जिसके अंदर उनको dental hygiene के tips बताते हैं no scary images right there are few information provided to the high fear kids but largely the entire presentation is going to focus upon scary images of worst dental hygiene scenarios so you get the idea at the end of the presentation या at the end of the seminar क्या होता है कि फिर बच्चों से पूछते हैं हाई फेयर वाले बच्चों से पूछते हैं कि भाई कितने बच्चों को आप दांतों के इन्फेक्शन के बारे में कंसर्न है द किड्स आंसर कि हमें इतने बच्चों को कंसर्न लो फेयर वाले के बच्चों से भी पूछते हैं कि लो फेयर वाले बच्चों को जो जितने सेमिनार के अंदर बैठे हैं उनमें से कितने बच्चों को कंसर्न आ गया डेंटल हाइजीन के बारे में सो I won't spoil the results for you, but concern के अंदर high fear वाला group succeeded in getting more kids concerned about their dental hygiene than low fear. So basically, high fear made the kids more concerned than low fear. I'm gonna ask you this question: which group do you think will change their behavior, the high fear group or the low fear group? As in, which group will be better performing dental hygiene behaviors? Any idea? The high fear. They gonna, you know what? Everyone, like, give me your guesses. High fear. ठीक है. And like this is the research that you're always gonna remember. क्योंकि this is it's a very interesting research. High fear, high fear. What about Halima? What about Iman? क्या सीन है तुम लोग का? चलो Halima chooses the neither option. That's the first time I've seen this option ever when I asked this question to a student. So okay, neither. So basically, you guys generally go for the higher fear. Zara changes her option to low fear. ठीक है ना? That's a very interesting prediction that Zara makes. ठीक है ना? I would be interested to hear what Zara says before she. Uh, TK, so Zara, why did you change your option to low fear? Could short idea of why did you do that? Iman says high fear. So largely people are going for high fear. Halima chooses the unexpected option, and Zara goes the other way. Zara, why did you change your answer? Good reason? Because the fear would overwhelm people and people would not react. Fear would, I guess what she's saying is fear would paralyze people, and when people are paralyzed with fear, they will not act. Just like the deer, stuck in a headlight, gari samne se aa rahi hoti, you are scared and you don't even move. So I guess that's what she's saying. And she says that low fear will cause the people behavior change. So unexpectedly, right, when I first read this, right, the maybe high fear wala banda tha, but Zara's right. The low fear wale will at the end change their behavior more. So what happened was the high fear wale bache did have higher worry about their tooth decay at the end of the presentation, right? And low fear wallet had significant lesser amount of concern about the tooth decay at the end of the presentation. But 1 week passes by, and through a questionnaire, you find out how many kids change their dental habits. So hota kya hai, the low fear wale bacche, 50% of them change their dental habits, but only 28% of them high fear wale change their dental habits. So the argument is that high fear wale bच्चों को information नहीं दी गई थी of how to take care of their hygiene. जो information heavy वाला ग्रुप था ना वो low fear वाला था क्योंकि they had to attend a boring presentation full of details. So the high fear wale bacche had to attend the fun presentation because looking at images fun, but they got no helpful information out of it. So because they got no helpful information out of it, they did not really do much to change their dental habits. So fear also does work when you want people to get concerned about certain things. So concern बढ़ाने के लिए it will work, but does it work to actually change a person's behavior? May not be so. So to change a person's behavior, you need to provide suggestions which high fear group did not provide. So COPE research is an ideal example of this three guidelines क्योंकि कोप के अंदर ये भी था और ये भी था. जैनिस के हाई फेयर वाले ग्रुप के अंदर ये तो था ये भी था बट ये नहीं था. सो द मैसेज पार्ट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. मिसिंग होगा तो यू नो व्हाट विल हैपन, अगर होगा तो यू नो व्हाट विल हैपन. सो जैनिस हाई फेयर ग्रुप वाज मिसिंग द मैसेज पार्ट. So it's a very interesting research, right? Acha, before evaluating this research, uh, there are at least two more researches that can help you understand whether fear also works or not. एक तुम पढ़ भी चुके हो अपने हेल्थ साइकोलॉजी के अंदर. एक 11th हॉल की रिसर्च है, ठीक है ना. 11th हॉल वाले बंदे ने क्या कहता है, ही वांट्स टू डू fear arousal but for people who smoke, right? So what he did was high fear messages versus क्या कहते हैं medium fear messages, I guess, yeah, medium fear. And he wants to see कि कौन सा ग्रुप जो है changes their attitudes about smoking. So when you only talk about attitude, yeah, when you only talk about niyat, right, intention, so attitudes and intention can be changed with the higher fear. But Leventhal के research के अंदर what's interesting to note is that इसने behavioral change measure नहीं किया. So maybe Leventhal के research के अंदर behavioral change measure करते तो क्या पता medium fear या moderate fear वाले लोग would change behavior ज़्यादा. But Leventhal के research के अंदर behavior change नहीं था. It's only studying the attitude and the intention. So that's why high fear messages वाले uh, worked to change people's attitude and intention. But behavioral change, हमें इतना नहीं पता. Uh, Quinn's research is in the chapter 4, क्या कहते हैं, chapter for adherence. Quinn's की research में adherence के chapter के अंदर मिलेगी, right? एक मिनट कहाँ गए ये? Health adherence. So Quinn's की research के अंदर if you remember health belief model के अंदर ये scene होता है, सही है. So yeah, ये वाली. So basically, they wanna find out कि by fear arousal से लोग do people give up smoking या नहीं. So you know कि दो ग्रुप बनाए जाते हैं, fear arousal versus a control group. Control group के अंदर सिर्फ counseling होती है. Fear arousal group के अंदर counseling के साथ साथ the nurses give them advices. They get informational material to read जिसके अंदर risk and benefits of smoking and not smoking के होते हैं. And they also get contacted by nurses 9 times so that the nurses basically call them and tell them negative effects about the smoking. So basically, this is the fear arousal group. एक तरीके से, at the end, you what you result क्या आता है? कि यहाँ पे you actually measure the behavioral change, तो behavioral change यहाँ पे आ गया कि treatment group actually stopped smoking 57% of the time and control group के सिर्फ 37 people stop smoking. So इसके अंदर fear arousal worked, ठीक है ना. Janus के अंदर fear arousal did not work to change behavioral change, it only causes worry. Cope के अंदर it works with the behavioral change, and Leventhal के अंदर there's no way to measure behavioral change. तो Cope Leventhal के research के अंदर it only changes the people's attitude. uh, कैनली का नाम मैंने यहाँ पे लिखा क्योंकि कैनली does not talk about fear arousal, but कैनली के थोड़ा बहुत सोचो that does connect with this aspect of the research. कैनली की research जो AS वाली है. So the idea why I mentioned कैनली is that when you look at Russell's point, okay, the image number one should be unpleasant, right? And whatever you're showing to them, you need to make sure they are relating to whatever is shown in the image, right? So क्या कहते हैं, एएस की जो स्टडी थी जिसके अंदर वो इमोशन चेक करते थे कैनली का, तो images that were shown to them, I'm going to show you like two example, yeah, one two example of images. तो कैनली is biological, yeah, कैनली, ठीक है. That the images that were shown to them, right, you're going to see exactly what these images were. um ये वाला नहीं, ये वाला नहीं, ये वाला नहीं, ये वाला नहीं. Yeah, so these were one of the images that were shown. So basically it is unpleasant, and number two, they can relate to it because it is something that could happen to them if they find themselves in a very difficult situation. But ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं कि this is impossible to happen to them. So basically the unpleasant, the more unpleasant the images and the more relatable the images, the more fear it will arouse in people, right? It's kind of basically we're not talking about the behavioral changes of the people क्योंकि काइंडली का रिसर्च का मतलब कुछ और था. But if we look at Russell's points जो उसने यहाँ पे दिए में, right, it does kindly research does follow the first two कि जितना image ज़्यादा unpleasant होगा, whatever relatable it is, the more scared the people is. So kindness research does provide some evidence that, you know what, fear arousal does work. So you have plenty of material on fear arousal, ठीक है ना. Net पे बहुत सारे other researches that you can look at, ठीक है ना. There's one research that I will not go over, ठीक है ना, but ये Dannenberg की research है, ठीक है ना. Dannenberg क्या करता है, ये साइकिलिंग वाले बच्चों को ना फेयर अराउजल के थ्रू हेलमेट पहनाने की चीज सिखाता है. तो बेसिकली फेयर अराउजल से बच्चों को साइकिल की हेलमेट पहनाने के बारे में पूरा रिसर्च करता है, राइट. सो यू कैन लुक इट अप ऑनलाइन, ठीक है ना, बट आई फील बहुत ज्यादा कंटेंट हो गया फॉर फेयर अराउजल. सो एट द एंड तुम्हें समरी किस चीज की लिखनी है, यूजुअली बस जैनिस की समरी लिखनी है, राइट. Dannenberg की लिख सकते हो, बट दे आल्सो एक्सेप्ट जैनिस स्टडी, ठीक है ना. यू कैन आल्सो राइट जैनिस, तो लाजमी है. जैनिस के साथ क्या लिख सकते हो, डैननबर्ग लिख सकते हो, ठीक है ना. और जैनिस के साथ तुम वो ये इसकी रिसर्च लिख सकते हो बाय कोप, ठीक है ना. सो लेकिन जैनिस लिखना लाजमी है. ऑलराइट, या, so this is the क्या कहते हैं designer study question that is inspired by the Dannenberg experiment, जहाँ पे you need to find out whether the fear arousal will work to promote kids from wearing bicycle helmets, right? So basically you're gonna have a 5 fear group जहाँ पे तुम accidents दिखाओगे versus a low fear group जहाँ पे तुम information about दोगे for road safety. Then you're gonna compare कि बच्चे helmet पहनते हैं या नहीं पहनते. That's gonna be the standard format. बाकी you can easily do the research क्योंकि this is gonna be a comparative research, तो IVDB इसका लाजमी होगा. You're comparing high fear with the low fear group, ठीक है. Yeah, so they do ask the general example fear arousal होता है कि you scare people so that they make changes to their health. That's what basically is what is fear arousal. Yeah, evaluation of the research by Janis. Well, it is not generalizable to the other age groups because it only was on kids from one school, but it is applicable because it does show the importance of advice at the end. If you don't have advice, it won't work. So it is क्या कहते हैं, applicable in that regard, because if you only show scary pictures, your message gets lost behind those scary images. Yeah, your message is forgotten, and the scary pictures are more remembered. Just like Hanley said, is an individual situational. This completely. I feel it's both क्योंकि even though मैंने situation तो लिखा है क्योंकि it's obvious इनकी situation लगती इनकी situation अलग थी, but the reason why I say individual is that, you know what, it's not क्योंकि even in the low fear group, not all of them change their behavior. Half of them change their behavior. So the other half not changing their behavior could come down to individual characteristics. So that's why I would say it's both nature nurture and the nurture. You're teaching the kids something, and research evidence met बता दिया. All right, so like the whatever क्या कहते हैं researches you have, it's going to be very very beneficial in debating for this question, right? For के against तुम्हें पता है कौन सी research है, against के research तुम्हें पता है कौन सी research है. So yeah, I could guess that you can take this down as your homework. So like I'll forward you the slide. You can mark slide 17 as your homework. You can बहुत content इसके लिए available. I feel also कि if you do debates जिसके लिए ज़्यादा content available है, I feel it's gonna help you more क्योंकि now you can freely structure your argument. So yeah, you can practice question on slide 17. Second, research is persuasive communication, as in this will argue कि fair arousal की जगह आप कोई और technique इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो. So basically this is going to say that you should work on your communication, because if your communication is solid, so people will change their health belief. So the model that they give is the Yale model of communication by Holland 1953. So Yale model communication basically breaks down the communication process into five different stages नहीं है, five different components नहीं है. These are not stages. So basically they say okay, you know what, you should make sure that the source, the message, the medium, the target and the situation is perfect. Otherwise किसी एक में मसला होगा, the message will not be effectively communicated. They say whoever is giving the message is the source. So let's suppose we talk about COVID. You need to spread awareness about the COVID. So basically, doctor is supposed to say something in front of the TV, not someone who is not of the medical field. So you need an expert to just say. So the source should be an expert of the whatever they're saying. The source should be someone who's trusted. The source should be someone who's respected. The source should be someone that people can relate to. As in, for example, my culture can we would prefer that the person is from our country, not someone else foreign. We should make sure that doctor who is ever speaking in front of the TV is respected and reputable है, कोई ऐसा malpractice का कोई इसका सीन नहीं होगा. So you need to make sure that the source is क्या कहना है, fulfilling those criteria ideally. Message के बारे में you should also make sure कि message के अंदर the message is not biased, that the people, if it's biased, those are people will ignore the message क्योंकि बोलेंगे कि यार देखो इसका कोई अपना agenda है. So that's why he's only saying one side of the argument. So message to be effective, number one, you should make sure that your message is not biased. It is a very neutral message. The way to do that is you yourself provide counter evidences of what you're saying so that people know both sides of the argument. Also, a message can you should make sure that the people understand what you're saying, so no complex terminology. So jargon इस्तेमाल करना इस्तेमाल नहीं करना, you should क्या कहते हैं, be careful of that. And message के अंदर you should also make sure कि क्या तुम्हें लोगों को इमोशनल करना है या अवेयरनेस देनी है. सो दोनों के अंदर कोई ना कोई मसला. इमोशनल करने के लिए you provide less factual evidence. Awareness देने के लिए you provide factual evidence. So you need to make sure what you're focusing on. Medium is what you are communicating it through. क्या तुम अखबार के थ्रू ऐड दे रहे हो या ऑनलाइन वीडियो दिखा रहे हो या प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे हो टीवी और टॉकिंग फेस टू फेस के सेमिनार हो रहा है बंदा स्टेज पे और टेलीफोन पे बात करो, whatever the medium is, you need to make sure that you pick the appropriate medium. For example, if you want to teach certain habits within kids, so you won't use the newspaper medium, right? You would use some TV on a kids channel. If you want to spread some awareness of social media, so you will obviously put an advertisement on social media or a video on social media. So the medium is supposed to be appropriate. Target is basically who you are communicating the message to. Audience कौन है? Audience के behalf पे you need to make sure whatever the message you're giving is important to the audience. For example, if you're talking about old age problem with kids, it won't work. So number one, make the message relatable to the audience. Number two, you need to know कि सामने कौन बैठा हुआ है, जाहिल है या पढ़ा लिखा है. So इसके हिसाब से मैसेज थोड़ा क्या कहते हैं, फ्रेम करना पड़ेगा, मोल्ड करना पड़ेगा, राइट. एंड नंबर थ्री इज द लास्ट इज द सिचुएशन. सिचुएशन का मतलब है कि आप मैसेज जिसको दे रहे हो वो कौन से environment के अंदर बैठा हुआ है. Is it a formal environment or is it an informal environment basically? So formal environment के अंदर basically आपका जो message होगा, formal situation में आपका जो message होगा is gonna be changed. Informal situation में जो आपका message होगा is gonna be changed. Think of it this way, जब तुम दोस्त से बात करते हो, your message का जो tone is completely different, but if you're talking to a colleague within a work or teacher, your message ka tone is going to be different. So situation is se, you have to change your message into formal या informal. So Yale model of communication says if you take care of all of these factors, your message, yeah, whatever you're promoting is gonna get through. किसी एक में मसला है, it's not. ठीक है. So I just broke it down the message to who is the speaker, ठीक है ना, किसको बोला जा रहा है, and what is the message. ठीक है. तो बेसिकली आई डिवाइड इट इनटू थ्री कंटेंट, बट बेसिकली समरी के अंदर ये तुम पूरा स्लाइड याद कर लोगे ना, ये वाली स्लाइड इज गोना गेट द जॉब डन. सो दिस इज द समरी. ठीक है ना, मैंने आसानी के लिए यहाँ पे ब्रेक डाउन कर दिया है. ठीक है ना. मैसेज के बारे में, जो मैसेज के बारे में लिखा था, राइट, यू नीड टू मेक श्योर दैट इट्स नॉट very boring, but you need to make sure it's not very stressful. You need to keep it somewhere in the middle के boring भी ना होगा और इतना डराने वाला भी ना होगा. Somewhere in the middle, that's the sweet spot. ठीक है ना. uh, when you're communicating to the message audience होता है, audience के certain beliefs को तुम्हें target करना पड़ता है. So these beliefs are somewhat relatable to the health belief model, such as the individual's uh, perceived susceptibility वगैरह. So you need to make sure of that when you're talking about the target. All right, so the eight model of communication के ऊपर कोई research नहीं, it's just a theory that is presented, right? So is it applicable 100%? You can use this to train medical students as to जब तुम patient से बात करोगे तो किस तरह content देना है. And this Yale model of communication can be used to create advertisement effectively, commercial effectively. ठीक है. Is it individual situational? Well, it considers a variety of factors. Individual situational दोनों factors हैं, क्योंकि in Yale model of communication, these are the, this is source is the individual, target is the individual, the situation is the situational factor, the medium is also the situational factor. ठीक है. The message is क्या कहते हैं, I would say also a situational factor because the message will depend upon the target and the medium and the situation. uh, it is holistic because it considers multiple aspect communication, but इसकी सबसे बड़ी weakness ये कि 1953 के अंदर दिया गया था, it could be outdated. Number two, something is not a fact जब another thing could explain the same thing. So basically, if you look, if you go to Google and Google other communication models, तो उसमें बहुत सारे examples मिल जाएंगे different communication models के who practically say the same thing but in a different way. So Yale model of communication is not the only model of communication. There are other model of communication out there. So that is why Yale model of communication is subjective. It's not objective. It's not a fact. ठीक है. So basically you can see कि ये बस इन्होंने जो पूरा का पूरा लिखा हुआ, ठीक है ना. This is basically what the slide said उस slide के अंदर. स्ट्रेंथ एंड वीकनेस अभी हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. एप्लीकेबिलिटी है बट इट्स नॉट, क्या कहते हैं, इट्स सब्जेक्टिव. And there are other communication models out there. It is holistic. Tina, yes, this message, the Yale model communication is free of any culture bias क्योंकि this doesn't specify anything cultural related. ठीक है ना. तो it is going to be free of culture bias क्योंकि this is applicable in every single culture. ठीक है. Yes, individual components will be थोड़ा बहुत ऑल्टर, और उसको तुम ऑल्टर तो करोगे सिचुएशन को या टारगेट को, लेकिन ओवरऑल जो थ्योरी होगी दैट्स गोना रिमेन अनचेंज्ड. तो दैट इज नॉट कल्चर बायस. भारत. Next we have providing information. This section argues that, you know what, when you want to provide, yeah, when you want to promote health to people, don't scare them, don't communicate with them, just give them the information that they need, and that's going to be enough. So you just give them information, and that itself should be enough to help people adopt healthy habits. इसको मैं continue करूंगा क्योंकि वीडियो का time up हो चुका है. So I'm going to send the link in just a minute.